right, let's jump right in, huh? We had a packed night in the NBA, 5 games, some real nail-biters.
Yeah, some surprises, too.
Absolutely. Definitely some upsets that, well, we'll get to those. But first, let's lay out what we've got for tonight.
Okay, that's good.
So starting off, we've got the Phoenix Suns taking on the Charlotte Hornets. Then the Utah Jazz are battling the Brooklyn Nets. The Indiana Pacers face the Cleveland Cavaliers down in Orlando. The Magic are hosting the Philadelphia 76ers. And to cap it off, the Boston Celtics and the New Orleans Pelicans are going to go head-to-head.
Wow, a lot of big names in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just dive right into it, shall we? First up, Suns and the Hornets. Phoenix took this one 120 to 113.
Yeah, close one.
And Booker, man, he was everywhere tonight. Not just scoring, though he had 30 points.
Right.
But the playmaking, 7 assists, really impressed me.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see Booker develop that side of his game. Like, he's not just a scorer anymore. He's thinking about the whole court, making his teammates better.
Right, like a true floor general.
Exactly, and that's got to be scary for other teams because he was already such a threat offensively.
Oh, absolutely. And, of course, Durant was out there doing his thing, 26 points, 9 rebounds. Just another night for KD.
Right. Steady as always. But we got to talk about LaMelo Ball, too, man. A triple-double, 21 points, 12 assists, 10 rebounds. The guy was all over the court.
Oh, he is electric tonight. Fun to watch. But, even with a performance like that, the Hornets still couldn't pull it out. What does that tell you?
Well, I think it raises some questions about the team around Paul. How are they going to support his talent, build a system that allows him to thrive, and, maybe they need to focus on their defense a bit more.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. All right, moving on. We had an overtime thriller. Jazz barely squeaked by the Nets, 112 on 11.
Yeah, down to the wire.
Lauri Markkanen, man. Clutch performance, 29 points, 13 rebounds, and those shots in overtime, ice in his veins.
Oh, he was unbelievable. Reminds me of some other European players who, take a little time to adjust to the NBA, but then they just, boom, explode.
Yeah, like they just needed that time to settle in.
Right, exactly. And it seems like the Jazz have really found something special. And Markkanen, I think they've got their franchise player now.
Absolutely. Mikal Bridges also had a solid game for the Nets, 28 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. But the Nets still seem a little shaky, don't they?
Yeah, they're still trying to find that consistency. They have the talent, but they haven't really put it all together yet.
And speaking of shaky, we got to talk about the ending of that Jazz-Nets game.
Mm-hmm.
It was, well, let's just say it was controversial. We'll let you imagine what happened. But it was a wild finish. That's all I'll say.
Moving on, we got a bit of an upset here. The Indiana Pacers, they really took it to the Cleveland Cavaliers, 108 to 93, a pretty dominant win.
Yeah, color me impressed. I mean, the Pacers really came out strong. And Tyrese Haliburton, he was the maestro tonight, 24 points, 12 assists. But it was his decision-making, the way he controlled the game that really stood out to me.
Absolutely, and that's the mark of a true point guard. Not just scoring or racking up assists, but making the right play at the right time, and Haliburton was doing just that, just picking apart the Cavs defense.
Yeah, he made it look easy, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, he was in complete control.
And, we got to mention, Buddy Hield, lights out from three-point range.
Oh, yeah, he was on fire.
And Miles Turner, he was a wall on defense. So many blocks, just shutting down the paint.
Yeah, they all contributed, but Haliburton was the engine driving that win, for sure.
Definitely. Now, on the Cavs side, they were missing some key players, and it showed. Donovan Mitchell was out, and Darius Garland had a bit of an off night, which happens, but it definitely hurt them.
Right. It does make you wonder, though, how this Pacers team would do against a fully healthy Cavaliers team. That would be a fun rematch to see.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, next up, we've got another surprise, the Orlando Magic. They took down the Philadelphia 76ers, 104 to 99. The young Magic, they're making some noise.
Yeah, they are. And Paolo Banchero, wow, what a performance. 28 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. But it was the confidence, especially in those clutch moments going up against a team like the Sixers. He wasn't afraid of the moment.
He looked like he belonged out there, and that's huge for a young player.
It really is, and it says a lot about the Magic's future. They're not just rebuilding anymore, they're competing, and Banchero's leading the charge.
And, Markelle Fultz had a decent game against his old team, 17 points, 7 assists, but what really impressed me was the Magic's defense. They were just swarming the Sixers, forcing turnovers.
Yeah, 18 turnovers. They really disrupted Philadelphia's rhythm, made it tough for them to get anything going.
Yeah, they were aggressive, and it worked. Now, Joel Embiid, he still had a monster game, 34 points, 12 rebounds, 4 blocks, but he didn't get much help from his teammates.
Yeah, That's been a recurring theme for the Sixers, hasn't it?
Mhm.
Embiid carrying the load, but the rest of the team struggling to find that consistency.
Yeah, if they want to be true contenders, they got to find a way to get everyone involved.
Right. James Harden had a quiet night, only 14 points. They need more from him if they're going to make a deep run.
Absolutely. All right, last game of the night, and it was a close one. The Celtics escaped with a win against the Pelicans, 120 to 119, back and forth, down to the wire. This one had it all.
Yeah, it was a great game. And as always, Tatum and Brown were leading the way for the Celtics. Tatum with 36 points, 11 rebounds, and Brown with 27. They're one of the best duos in the league, maybe even the best. Their chemistry is amazing.
Oh, yeah. They know where each other are going to be. It's like they're reading each other's minds out there.
Yeah. And it's not just their talent, it's the legacy they're building on. The Celtics have a history of great duos, Bird and McHale, Pierce and Garnett. You look at Tatum and Brown, and you can't help but think they're on that same path.
Yeah, they could be something special. And the ending of this game, oh, man, Al Horford with the clutch three-pointer to put the Celtics up by one with just seconds left. And then Brandon Ingram, his shot at the buzzer just rims out. Heartbreaking for the Pelicans, but that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, it was a tough loss for them, but you got to give credit to the Celtics. They executed down the stretch, and that's what wins close games.
Absolutely. And we got to mention Zion Williamson. He was dominant for the Pelicans. 35 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Just a force of nature.
Oh, yeah, unstoppable at times. But in the end, it was the Celtics' experience that made the difference, that kept their composure when it mattered most.
Yeah, they didn't panic, and they got the win. So that's a wrap on our first 5 games. Some incredible performances tonight and a lot to unpack.
Yeah, a lot to think about.
And we will. Don't worry. We'll be back to break it all down.
Definitely looking forward to it.
Me too. We got a lot more to discuss.
Oh, yeah, we're just getting started. Man, I'm still kind of reeling from all that, So much action, so much talent. It's crazy how good the league is right now.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like every night there's something amazing happening, some incredible performance, some crazy finish. It's a great time to be an NBA fan.
It really is. And, it's not just the stars. It's the young guys coming up, guys like Banchero, Ball. They're changing the game. And then you've got, the veterans like Booker, Durant, stay showing they're at the top of their game.
Yeah, and then there's guys like Markkanen, Haliburton, who are kind of like in between. They're not rookies anymore, but they're not quite veterans either. And they're really starting to like establish themselves as stars.
Yeah, they're finding their place in the league, and they're doing it in a big way.
And we got to mention Zion, too. I mean, the guy is he's a walking highlight reel. When he's healthy, he's just unstoppable.
Yeah, he's like a force of nature. You
Yeah.
you can't teach that kind of athleticism and power.
No, you can't. So I guess, we've talked about individual players,
Yeah.
but what about like the bigger picture? What are some of the takeaways, the trends, the storylines that you're seeing emerge from these games?
Well, one thing that really stands out to me is the evolution of the point guard position. We're seeing guys like Haliburton, Ball, even Booker. They're not just traditional point guards anymore. They're scorers, they're facilitators, they're doing it all.
Yeah, it's like the lines are getting blurred, right?
Yeah.
Between like a pure point guard and a scoring guard. And these guys are they're so versatile.
Exactly, and it's making the game so much more dynamic. You can't just stick a big, slow defender on them and expect to shut them down. They can shoot, they can drive, they can pass, they can do it all.
And that's got to be a nightmare for coaches trying to game plan against these guys.
Oh, absolutely. It's forcing them to get creative,
Yeah.
You need defenders who can stay in front of these guys, contest their shots, anticipate their passes. It's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, it's like the whole game is evolving. It's not just the point guard position. It's every position. Teams are looking for players who can do multiple things, who can contribute in different ways.
Right. It's not just about specialists anymore. You need guys who can adapt, who can make smart decisions, who can impact the game on both ends of the court.
Text like versatility is the new hot commodity in the NBA.
I think so. Yeah, it's becoming more and more important, and I think it's making the game more exciting to watch. It's more fluid, it's more unpredictable.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely a different game than it was even a few years ago. All right. So, we've talked about individual players, but what about teams? Which teams are really making a statement this season? The ones that are looking like true contenders?
That's a tough question. There's a lot of good teams out there, but I think the Suns are still the team to beat. They've got the experience, the talent, the coaching, and they've been there before. They know what it takes to win a championship.
Yeah, I think you're right. The Suns are definitely the favorites, but What about some of the other contenders? Like the Celtics, for example, they always seem to be in the
Oh,
mix.
yeah. The Celtics, they're always a threat,
Yeah.
especially with Tatum and Brown leading the way. They've got a great supporting cast, a good coach, and they play hard. They're a tough team to beat.
And the Bucks, they're always up there too, as long as Giannis is healthy.
Right. The Bucks, they're always a contender. Giannis is a generational talent. He can carry a team on his back.
And we can't forget about the Warriors, the defending champs. They might be a little older, but they've still got Steph, Clay, Draymond. They know how to win.
Yeah, the Warriors, they're never out of it, but I think they're going to need more from their younger players this year if they want to repeat.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. It's going to be a tight race to the playoffs, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, it always is. And with so much parity in the league, I think we're going to see some really exciting matchups in the postseason.
So I guess, we've covered a lot tonight. Individual performances, team dynamics, the evolving landscape of the NBA. But as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what's the big takeaway? What do you want our listeners to walk away with?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is this. The NBA is in a really good place right now, you know? We're seeing an explosion of young talent, a shift in the way the game is played, and a level of competition that's just incredible. It's a great time to be a basketball fan.
It really does feel like we're like witnessing a changing of the guard, like a new era of NBA superstars is starting right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. And that makes me think, we saw so many talented young players tonight, but who do you think has that it factor, that potential to be like the face of the league,
Yeah.
The next LeBron, the next Jordan?
Man, that's a tough one. There's so many guys with potential, but if I had to pick one, I think I'd go with Paolo Banchero. I mean, he's got the size, the athleticism, the skills, and he's just got that presence, that charisma.
Yeah, I see it too. He's not just putting up numbers. He's impacting the game in a way that's special. And he's just a rookie. He's already leading the Magic to upsets over teams like the Sixers. Imagine what he's going to be like in a few years.
Oh man, it's scary to think about. The league is in good hands with these young guys coming up.
Absolutely. And you know what? What we saw tonight, it's just a small taste of what's to come. One night, 5 games, and it's just a tiny glimpse into this amazing league, the talent, the competition, the passion. It's what makes the NBA so special.
It really is. And for our listeners, as we wrap up our deep dive into this incredible night of basketball, we want to leave you with this thought. We've seen the present, but the future. The future is wide open. Who will rise to the top? Who will become the next legend? Keep watching, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep enjoying the game, because the NBA, it's where legends are made.